Hello. One of the questions I'm often asked here at Homegrown Veg is, when do I plant my veg? When does it go in? What months do we grow it in? When do we harvest it? And I try to answer that as best I can, but it's difficult because I'm never too sure, and particularly with new subscribers, what part of the world you're gardening in. I don't know where you are. And if you're not in the United Kingdom, I can't offer that advice. I can tell you what I do, but that's going to be adjusted, I'm fairly sure, depending on the climate that you're growing in. Okay, so this is for new gardeners really, and I think this is probably the same the world over. You're going to buy some seeds and you're going to get them in a packet. How about that? Courgettes, or as you would call them in the US, zucchini. When should we plant those? I'm guessing if you're in the States, depends if you're in the top end or the bottom end. Am I right? Is one significantly hotter than the other? I think it is. Anyway, hey look, there's the answer to your question. There's a timeline. Wow, what's this? Leeks. There's another timeline. Loads of advice. It's all here. My work is done. If you want to know when to plant stuff, read the packet. But hold on, don't be going anywhere, hold on. Yeah, so we've got these timelines and lots of advice on the back of these packets. This one here, this is Dwarf French Bean Ferrari. Okay, I'm going to flip this over and I'm going to discuss the information on the back of it with you. And what I want to do is I want to do some generalising, because one size doesn't fit all, but if we generalise, we're not too far away. I'll just flip this over, let you have a look at it, discuss it with you, and then we'll carry on this conversation if you're still with me. So, here's the information on the back of the packet. This is Dwarf French Bean Ferrari, and as you can see, there's a nice timeline, a nice easily understood timeline. The red portion indicates a sowing indoors period, and here in the UK it's April-May. If you're gardening outside the UK, chances are it's another couple of months. It probably won't line up exactly. We've then got a sow outdoors date in blue. Again, if you're not in the UK, it probably won't line up exactly, but that's when you can sow your Dwarf French beans outdoors. The ones you've sown indoors, we have a plant out date in green. So those plants can be moved out now. And then right at the end of this timeline, we have a harvest period. Okay, so that's when you can reasonably expect to be harvesting your beans. And as you can see in the UK, it does not go into the winter months. And there's a reason for that, which we'll discuss later on in this video, if you're still with me. Okay, and as you go down this packet, there's instructions about how deep you should plant your seeds, how far apart you should plant your seeds, how far apart the rows should be if you're growing in rows, how you would grow them on, whether they need supported or not, best position to grow them in your garden. Yeah, there's lots of stuff there. Now, something on this packet that you may not observe first time if you're a new gardener is right on the bottom in the middle. There is a packed in year ending and a sow by date. These were packed in year ending 2022 and there is a sow by date of 2025. So be careful when you pick your seeds up. You're not picking packets up that are already out of date. It's worth checking that when you pick your packet up. And just above that and off to the left, the average contents of this packet are 80 seeds. So how many of these are you going to be growing? Have you got room for 80? If you haven't got room for 80, you're going to have some spares. And you can carry those on till next year, sow them next year. If you're growing more than 80, you may need 2 packets. So that's something that you should take into account when you're buying your seeds. Okay, so I don't think there's any more I can tell you if you've got a short attention span and that's all you really wanted to know. But I want to open up a conversation about packaging, seed packaging, and I'm going to do that now. But for those of you who've had enough, this is Homegrown Veg signing out. Right, I'm glad you stuck with me. Right, let's talk about seed packaging, because all packaging is not equal. Okay, so let's generalise. Here at Homegrown Veg, in spring we sow things. In summer we grow things. In autumn we harvest things. And in winter we fix the soil. Now, if you're gardening where there are extremes of temperature, adjust your dates accordingly. In spring we sow things because at the beginning of spring we can probably sow things indoors, and by the end of spring plant them out directly into the soil. The soil's now gradually getting warmed up, but beware of frosts. Now, if I said sow seeds, plant seedlings, March, April, May, that might be good for a lot of viewers, a lot of new gardeners, but it might be totally wrong. If you're gardening in, say, the southern hemisphere, it's probably midwinter. It's probably midwinter. So if I was to put a month on it, then I'm giving the wrong advice to perhaps lots of viewers. So it's far better that we stick to seasons, and that's why I like in spring we sow things, in summer we grow things, in autumn we harvest things, and in winter we fix the soil. There's not a month mentioned there, and that should fit most places. Okay, so in summer we grow things. This is usually the main growing season as the days are getting noticeably longer. What we planted in spring is growing at pace. Some crops will be ready to harvest, others will grow on into autumn. In autumn we harvest things. As the days get noticeably shorter, crops stop growing, and an early frost may end that growing cycle. Now, I am generalising here, so there are things that you can plant in autumn that will stand a frost. How hard a frost, I don't know. If we were buried in snow, I don't know. We don't get that much here. I mean, if you're planting something that's going to have to survive 2 foot of snow for a month, 2 months, I'll be surprised if it does. But I don't know. So I can't offer any advice in that respect. But one thing I can offer advice in is fixing the soil. In winter we fix the soil. We fix the soil. With several cold months ahead and the soil laying fallow, it's time to do some soil maintenance. Any bare soil should be covered with a layer of chop and drop. Now, if you don't know what chop and drop is, search on chop and drop on YouTube. And if you don't come up against one of my videos, I'll be very surprised. And for me, it's a green and brown mix, usually of autumn leaves, brown, and green seaweed, but you can use grass. The last time you cut your lawn in autumn, your grass is still green, you've got some autumn leaves. Just chop the lot up, put the lawnmower across the lot, empty the box out, you've got chop and drop. So we just cover any bare soil. Now I've got buckets and bags now that have soil in them that have grown potatoes, carrots, beetroot, onions, leeks, any manner of vegetable. That soil's been used this year, but I'm going to use it next year. And what I'm doing currently is some soil maintenance. As we move into winter, I'll put some chop and drop on top of those buckets of soil. I'll just cap it off with an inch or two. And then do nothing. Then do nothing. Then let nature do the rest until the following spring, when we'll all start all over again. That's it. That's it. So if you've got extremes of temperature, if you've got hot weather, seriously hot weather, seriously cold weather, seriously dry weather, you're going to struggle. You need to look at a window of opportunity where plants will grow. Now, although I've not checked it on these packets, I know for a fact vegetables won't grow in a week. They will not. They won't grow in a couple of weeks. Will they grow in a month? I'll be surprised. Will they grow in a couple of months? You might be in with a shout. Will they grow in several months? Now you're talking. This isn't a sprint. It's either middle distance or long distance, but you're talking about several months. So you want a window of opportunity that has several months good growing weather in it. Now here in the UK, good growing weather would be back end of spring through summer. That's when we would plant things. That's when we would grow things. Depending on where you are, you might want to move that time frame slightly forward in the growing year, slightly back in the growing year. But it's no good putting something in that won't have time to mature. If I'm telling you some of these crops will take several months, and you're at the back end of your growing season now, about to move into a cold spell, there's no point in planting it. It'll grow, but it'll die. It will not mature. And if you jump the gun, if you go too early outdoors, seeds generally won't germinate because it's too wet and it's too cold. They'll germinate indoors and you can plant them out as seedlings, but if you go too early in spring and you catch a frost, I get lots of cold wet weather, your seeds will probably just waste away. They won't grow. So it's looking for that window of opportunity, that growing window, and trying to maximise it. That's what you're trying to do. Hey, who said it was easy? Now, one last piece of advice. The more you plant, the better your chance of getting something over the finish line. Don't come to me so many months down the line and tell me your potato didn't grow. Your potato? Come to me, 10 buckets of potatoes didn't grow. We're not planting one potato, we're planting buckets of potatoes. We're planting buckets of carrots. You know, we're planting rows of vegetables. And the more you plant, the more chance you have getting something over the finish line. You will have failures. You will have failures. Good gardeners have failures. All gardeners have failures. But fingers crossed, we'll get some successes. Fingers crossed, you get some successes. Work out what you're going to do. Look at the timelines. Get your seeds. Get yourself sorted. Hey, let's grow stuff. Let's grow stuff. Okay, so I hope you've enjoyed the video. I hope the generalising was okay. I know you know, one size doesn't fit all. Now the last thing I'm going to show you before I terminate this video is packaging that you might not expect. Okay, check this out. If you're going to order your seeds over the internet, you may actually get seeds delivered like this. Hey, how about that? How about that? Where's the pictures? There's no pictures. Where's the timeline? There's no timeline. Blimey, what information's coming with these? Let's have a look. What's this? Bunching onions, white Lisbon. Right, there is some information on this packet. It tells me there's 3,200 seeds in it, and it tells me it was packed in December 2021 and they should be sown by December 2023. Well, I'm okay with that as long as I know what I'm doing with bunching onions and how to grow them. And if I had a packet like that, it would tell me. Okay, so be aware, if you shop over the internet, your seeds are likely to turn up in these sealed foil packs or these clear Ziploc bags. What are these? These are lettuce, oak leaf green. Actually doesn't tell you how many there's in there. It says there's 4 grams. 4 grams of seed. Looks like 1 million to me. But again, no information on how to grow this lettuce. Only the weight, the date it was packed, and the sow by date. So that's all, that may be all you're going to get. But if you're stuck, hey, there's nothing to stop you pulling out a packet that you've already got, or having a look at packets in your nearest seed seller. Just look at the timeline and work to that timeline. Parsnips that come in one of these will grow just like the parsnips in these. And I've got to say, incidentally, although you don't get a lot of information on these packets, the seeds tend to be good quality. They are good quality. I haven't had any problems with them, apart from some seeds I got that turned up from China. I didn't know they were from China when I ordered them. I only found out that when I got the packaging, and they were a total disaster. That was a seed, it was a carrot sweet candle. I planted hundreds of them, not a single one germinated. There's a video on the channel somewhere about Chinese seeds or sweet candle. I don't know, I put a video up. But generally, yeah, these are just as reliable as these. You just don't get as much information with them. Okay, so I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, a like would be nice. If you haven't subscribed, isn't it about time you did? And last but not least, if you want to leave a comment, any comment, keep it civil, keep it on vegetables, and we'll have a discussion. You can have a discussion with other gardeners. You know, if you have any issues with packaging, if you have any issues with timelines and when to plant your vegetables and when not to, yeah, put some text in, send us a comment, and hopefully other gardeners will pick it up and you'll probably get a reply. Okay, this is Homegrown Veg, signing out.